To take me away back to strawberry fields.
When was the last time we had such an ambient start to pay-per-view? Preview?
This time last year. I think they used the same thing for No Mercy
did they?
last year.
Oh yeah, well, I don't think we used this one at the time, so that's probably why it's like, oh okay. The song Kit, or our song is No Mercy from Kit. Actually, I love his vocals. Actually, it's pretty awesome. We'll get straight to the pre-show first. Elias against Apollo Crews.
Elias won. Move on.
Elias won. We'll move on.
Yeah,
good point. Yeah, it's so much to say about that, I suppose. Yeah. Miz against Jason Jordan Intercontinental title.
Miz won. Move on.
No.
I'm only joking.
Miz got a huge pop.
Miz did get
it is Los Angeles. It is his
LA.
unofficial hometown.
People still aren't over.
Jordan got a mixed reaction.
Jordan's not over. He's
not over.
Booed.
He's not over. He's getting
he was
mixed.
getting booed. And LA crowds are smart crowds.
They are smart crowds. They're mixed at best. I think it's one of these things where it's like the scene effects. Women and children would cheer, but the men wouldn't, or the men who like the wrestling too much.
Pretty much our age group weren't. Probably they were probably booing him.
I was trying to follow him. I was trying to encourage him. Like,
yeah, because you had him in your prediction. Of course, you were encouraging him.
Yeah, but that as well. Now, it's interesting because I don't know if you heard this, but Michael Cole and Booker T had a bit of an interesting debate about Jordan possibly being protected by Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that now?
Booker T's not for him at all.
Booker
T goes in on him all the time.
He makes good points, though. And here's Michael Cole almost very passionately saying, "No, it's not like that. He was just brought in and he's doing well." Like, yeah, but seriously?
Yeah, Michael Cole uses it from his own experience, though, because he mentioned it in the previous week that he adopted his kids as well.
Yes, that's true.
So he's taking his own life experience, which is an interesting take on it as well.
Yeah,
it's trying to get that home. It's trying to get home that like personal point of view and stuff. But people aren't buying it. They're just not buying the fact that Jason Jordan could be Kurt Angle's son.
Well, let's put it this way. I wonder if the chance of Who's Your Daddy were directed at Jordan or Miz.
Oh. Who's Your Daddy? Yeah, it would definitely Jordan. Who's Your Daddy?
You think Miz as well?
No, it would be Who's the Daddy.
Who's the Daddy?
If it was Miz.
I think it was Who's Your Daddy, I think so.
Who's Your Daddy if it was... Yeah,
so it probably was Jordan.
See, the thing is that the one thing that's calling out for is it needs, like, obviously, I said it last week, Jason Jordan needs the mom to come on. He needs the mom as a character to be there, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks backstage to even talk about it, to help drive it home. I think would help. I think it would help drive in fans' minds. I think it would help drive it home.
But is that essential to have that character as opposed to maybe developing a story where it could be a case where, because look at Jason Jordan after this match.
Well, see, let's say for example, I'm just trying to, because people aren't buying the fact that Jason Jordan could be Kurt Angle's son. Okay, so if you were to bring back, like, I'm not saying bring Jason Jordan's mother in, but obviously a woman to come in to play Jason Jordan's mother, and maybe for her to like hate Kurt Angle or something like that, like it would help make it more believable, I think.
But I was thinking, well, there's that as well. But I'm thinking of, well, what if it gets to the points where Kurt Angle, or Jason Jordan, I should say, is getting very weighed down on this pressure, maybe that.
But see,
he's probably putting on himself from being Kurt Angle's son, and all these people like Miz and Miz Trash are sort of nailing it more down.
But see, that could help. Then, like I'm saying,
you don't need a man for that.
Bring the mother in would help.
I know. There's two
I'm not saying she has to be there all the time. Well, I'm talking about just for the period, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's two options right there.
Just to do it, just to help it along the way. That's all.
Maybe. Well, Mrs. Daniel Bryan, like, kicks actually got a positive reaction, some chance, believe it or not, like, very good technique from Jordan. Like, I love this. His suplexes are flawless, they really are. Like, in the end, it was Miz who pinned Jordan after a skull-crushing finale after distraction from Curtis Axel to retain the Intercontinental title. After the match, Jordan said he still doesn't respect Miz, saying that he sucks. Later on, Miz requested to Kurt Angle that Miz TV takes place on Raw with Roman Reigns as the guest, which Kurt agrees. We'll get into that a bit later on when we talk about Roman Reigns and John Cena, and of course Raw later on. Now, Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt. This storyline for me now is intriguing me more now, because if you stop and think about it, right, here's Bray who's encouraging Finn to use the demon. When Finn asks Bray which is more dangerous, the demon or the man who creates the demon,
Yeah.
I find that intriguing now. Like, you know, like it opens up, and here's Finn coming out now with completely new gear. I can't remember the last time I've seen him in a colour other than black.
Yeah.
The last time he wore anything other than that, and it was in Japan. He wore white, I think, when he was at his. I think it was on his Wild Pegasus days, or I think it was when he was then. But I think he was like, he was like the second Wild Pegasus after Chris Benoit in Japan, I think, and he wore like white everything, like, you know, white knee pads, shin guards, and tights. Or last time I seen him in other than black. In the end, though, it was Bray who attacked Finn from behind. Sorry, it was Bray who attacked Finn behind, which injured him, and the ref almost made Finn retreat from the match before Bray called Finn a coward, which enraged Finn to run to the ring and get the match started. And in the end, it was a good match with Finn nailing the coup de grace.
I think it was probably the best match Bray has had for about a year.
Think so?
I think so.
Here's Finn Balor for you. Yeah, but I'm enjoying the storyline. It's interesting now because
I thought it was done.
It's not done either.
No, it's not. Found that out the next night.
Well, considering how the way it's went lately, I'm intrigued. Yeah. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Like, how can they approach this more? What else can they do with this? Because I think this is one of the more interesting rivalries I think Bray has had.
I have a theory. I have a fantasy booking. I'll get onto it when we get to Raw.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose against Sheamus and Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Don't do that.
That's horrible. I know. I couldn't help myself. Obviously, it's well documented. Cesaro hit his against the ring post after an Ambrose slingshot, which seemed to dislocate his teeth.
Yeah, no, it wasn't announced until later on in the week. His teeth didn't fall out; they went up into his gum.
I know, it was lodged inside his mouth.
That's worse. Oh, so much worse.
By like 5 millimeters.
Oh.
His mouth was bloody. His mouth said, "I'll credit for him to continue like nothing happens." Like, you know,
how I'd be keeled over in so much pain if that happened.
When he did a sharpshooter, I think he was smiling to the crowd like, "Yeah, look at me, I can feel that and stuff." Like, no, not like that, but like, I hate
like
taking
it went in up his gum.
Oh man.
Just shudder thinking it. Like, losing it. If you lost a teeth, okay, fine. We can make it a joke. At least a few people in the front row got like a gift to go home with, but no.
It's nasty, alright, yeah. Amazing spot when Sheamus white noise Ambrose before Cesaro countered a Hurricanrana from Rollins into a super powerbomb on Ambrose. That was actually a pretty cool spot. Yeah. This for me was actually the match of the night. Actually,
it was. This was probably the best tag team match Raw have had since the brand split.
I agree. I think I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Ambrose in a very good match. It was Sheamus missed a bro kick by hitting Cesaro before Ambrose finished him with his dirty deeds to pin Sheamus to retain their titles. Now, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Emma and Bayley for the Raw Women's Tag Team titles. Nia Jax,
this was a really fun match.
By far her best performance.
Yes.
She was the MVP in this match by a country mile. Yeah. Very impressive. The crowd and the crowd noticed it. Yeah. She's getting a bit of a pop lately, Nia Jax. And we said this last week or two now. Like, and I think they see she's getting better, and now they're warming up to her like a bit better now. She's not being too harsh on her, like, and the crowd saw it too. She got a pretty good pop. That powerbomb Nia took on the apron, or sorry, took off the apron
from the apron onto the ground. Yeah,
like the way she landed. No credit. She took it very well though.
Crazy. Really, really fun match. Really liked it. I disagree with the fact that why would you bring Bayley back just to eat the pin?
It seems weird, alright, yeah.
It's just so counterproductive. Why, like, Emma was... That's why I thought Emma was in the ring, because she was going to eat the pin. But, no. They bring Bayley back to eat the pin. For no reason.
Well, the way I see this, like, you know, you say it might not make sense for Bayley to pick up, to eat the pin, but maybe this could be a thing where it adds up to Bayley. Like, she's being so nice about everything. Eventually, she gets frustrated.
Well,
I honestly believe she could heel turn over this in the future.
Because she got pinned.
Because she's getting so many losses, especially against Alexa Bliss.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it could be a case where, like, it gets to her to a point where her character could develop, could change, which she does need.
I don't think this was looking at any future booking. I just think it was bad booking.
I believe it can lead to good booking. Or certainly, if it's bad booking, here's a way they can fix it. You know what I mean? And as I said, it was Alexa who pinned Bayley with the DDT to somehow retain her title in a very entertaining match. Now, John Cena versus Roman Reigns. Cena taunted Reigns to the crowd, almost leaving before Reigns attacked him in the rampway. This match felt very weird in the start for me. Like, you know, maybe it's because they're both being booed. like especially when Reigns was hurt. Like,
no,
it felt too negative.
Cena wasn't booed.
He
was not booed.
At the start, he was.
He got the biggest pop in years there.
For beating Roman Reigns.
for
beating Roman Reigns.
But he didn't beat Roman Reigns.
Or sorry, for hurting Roman Reigns, I should say.
Yeah.
I think more so because of maybe the reaction, his reaction after he lost. Maybe like you know, very good physical match, lots of big hits. Like, has anyone ever kicked out of a Super AA before?
Not that I can
Only
remember.
Reigns could do something like that.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. Cena, it was very funny when the crowd asked for one more time, and Reigns later countered the AA by spearing Cena through the Spanish announce table. Yeah. Reigns amazingly kicked out of 2 AAs in a row, which was like 4 overall. That's Roman Reigns booking for you. Sure, that's never happened. I mean, it's one thing for a Super AA, but 2 AAs in a row, what he did to AJ at the Rumble, man.
Build him. They're just making him the top guy, man.
I'm not complaining. It's just like it's like
they're put like obviously this, as we saw with the Universal Title match as well. They just built it more and more and more.
Well, at least
to the terms that these two guys, Brock and Roman, are the big guys to try and make this inevitable match at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, I know people don't want to see it, but it's gonna happen.
I think it will happen.
That make this match bigger than ever.
Like the way they're booking them is definitely heading that way. I personally won't complain to seeing that type of match, especially the way they're being booked. They're being, I won't agree with with some of their booking, especially the Brock matches we'll get onto in a bit.
Yeah.
But it's certainly the way they're building it, they have their minds made up by it. Like unless something changes, which they easily can. But
it could easily change. I don't see it changing. I think these two are set for the main event of WrestleMania this year. But it's just as long as there's not the set. See, there's this trend now with Brock Lesnar matches that he is out of the match for ages, and then he comes back, F5s, finishes. I hope they don't do that. But
they can't do that for main event of WrestleMania if it's going that way.
I know.
No, because then
it's WrestleMania, and the thing is, Brock hasn't had a match over 10 minutes for a while.
Well, no, he hasn't. He's
obviously the Fatal 4-Way was over 10 minutes. But he was out of it for a lot.
He's getting Goldberg-esque. Dare I say?
Yeah.
Reigns out of nowhere hit the Superman punch on Cena and spear to win the match. Cena raised Cena's arm after the match,
like The Rock did after the Royal Rumble as well. And
what next for Cena?
Film the Bumblebee movie.
Then what? Is this it for him? He'll
come back probably maybe around Royal Rumble.
But the point is now he's a fully fledged part timer now. Like like the chance of thank you Cena. Maybe after this he'll be as cheered as ever.
The whole thing of touching the video wall on the way out and leaving and then coming back doing the salute and then waving goodbye. Like he did that after there was a match he did it against. Was it
AJ?
Was it AJ?
AJ at SummerSlam not last year, the year before.
Yeah, and then he left the bands and everything in the ring and stuff like that.
That's it.
See, he does that for a while, then he leaves, then he comes back.
So
he's not retired. No way is he retired.
It's just teasing it too much.
I think he's teasing it too much.
Maybe. Yeah. Neville versus Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight title. It was funny when Enzo called Neville Frodo and Gollum's baby before the match. Neville dominated the match to the point where he underestimated Enzo by not nailing the red arrow, where he nailed a jumping, where Enzo nailed a jumping DDT, from which he almost won from. Enzo then used a very clever tactic where he grabbed the Cruiserweight title in front of Neville and threatened to hit him with it, and when the ref took it off him, he kicked Neville in the balls and pinned him for the shock win to become Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah.
Not much to say about that. I can tell you're getting fed up with Enzo, like everyone else.
But see, that's the thing, what they want. They want this whole everybody hates Enzo.
Is it clever booking? Is it clever
what
from
I was going to say. They're making him
so annoying.
The heel. They're making him so annoying that they want people to turn in to 205 Live to see him get beaten up. So, in this case, it's actually really good booking.
It is. I like, and now we know that it looks like
they found a way to use Enzo's annoyance in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I actually would commend WWE.
I will. Me too. Yeah. It's clever booking on their part, so to make him champion, and now we'll see what happens there. Now, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, Universal title. Now, for me, this is the most disappointing match of the year. I'm going to say it right now. Because considering the hype for this match, considering all the talk back and forth, and considering the way that Braun Strowman was been booked, even against Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
And the way it finished, and the way it went, I'm disappointed. I expected a lot more.
And look, you're totally fine, and you're not the only person to be extremely upset by the result. Obviously, like, I was happy with the result because I called it.
Yeah.
But the match, I was kind of disappointed in as well. And I can understand people annoyance at the match, because if you take it back to the tip, the height of this hype, it was around SummerSlam. And the reason for it was because, if you remember the Fatal 4-Way correctly, Strowman destroyed Brock.
No, he did.
Putting him through 2 tables, putting a table on top of him. Strowman putting everybody through everything. His matches with Roman Reigns, he put him through loads of things as well. And then they have this match. And then this match is just a wrestling match. They left the ring once. Never involved any table, never involved any breaking of the barrier. So
are you saying that Braun Strowman isn't capable of having a proper wrestling match, Jess?
I feel no. I feel that maybe they have done too much with Braun in terms of him breaking everything.
I guess so.
To try and put him in a legitimate wrestling match like that was just unfair booking on him as his character.
Okay.
I felt like he was even a little lost in that match as well.
He seemed to get very tired towards the end.
He did as well, yeah.
Which I don't understand.
Yes, I can understand.
It's like he had I'm going to call this match the caffeine crush.
Yeah.
Like, he was so full of energy, he was roaring during his entrance, and all of a sudden he was like this in the end.
He was ready
with his chin in and his belly out, and his
Look,
arms flopping to the ground.
Like I said,
and his beard going 2 ways.
It seemed like very strange booking from WWE. Very, very strange.
Maybe he was hurt. I mean, that Kimura really seemed to hurt that Braun's arm.
I don't think because he came out the very next night and he bashed everyone.
Yeah, especially for Enzo.
I don't know.
For me personally,
I'm very confused by the booking of this, to actually not involve any sort of table or breaking of barriers in this match. I don't know why they tried to show off that these guys could have a wrestling match, because it didn't call for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just strange.
As I said to you before, I just find this really disappointing in the sense where, you know, the hype that went into it, the way Braun's been booked. And now the one thing I do get is that as the way they booked Brock Lesnar, they're protecting the F5, and that's noble that they protect the finisher, especially from someone like Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, like I said, they are.
Doesn't mean I like it though. If they're booking it, it doesn't mean he has to nail it in his first attempt and that's over. Yeah. Tease it. It's like the Rainmaker and the Winged Angel that Okada and Omega have.
But it's the same thing as well as
particularly the Winged Angel. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're protecting, like in New Japan, they're protecting the Winged Angel. They're protecting Roman's spear and they're protecting Brock's F5. So they're building this matchup in people's heads before they actually even started.
Here's the difference though. Like, the way that the Japan do it with Omega is clever, that, like, you know, at least they have reversals or way out from the Winged Angel. It isn't similar to doing that at all with the Spear or the F5 in WWE. They're not countering or doing anything. It's little, let's be honest.
There is ways of countering the F5. There is ways of countering the Spear,
and we're not saying it as much, though.
But you have to be called Randy Orton to do it.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, yeah.
Elbow gone. Elbow gone. Like, right, guys. It doesn't have to be like creative wrestling. It could just be like just tag him and that's that. Like,
if there is a way, like, I could see a way of say, for example, it's Roman. I could see a way of Roman countering the F5, but it's very difficult in terms of
he picks him up into a Superman punch or something.
That's what as he spins and hits Brock with a Superman punch. In terms of doing the spear, you could actually do the spear where when Roman goes for the spear, he leads with a hand. So if you've been targeting that arm for the whole time, you could jump it into a Kimura lock if you're Brock. So there is ways of doing it which would make it actually really good transitions. I would make the crowd pop. Maybe I should book this match for Mania. I've just come up with really two
make a lot more sense. Like, you know, like, again, but like, all I'm saying is, if you're protecting a finisher, then bait it rather than just like it has to be attempt, bang, over.
Yeah.
Like this was
Look,
attempt.
I know.
One attempt at the F5. Maybe or when he picked him up properly. Yeah. Obviously he had attempts of picking him up, but for me that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like for me, you pick him up and fully up. His back is straight. He's not squatting to get you up. Mm-hmm. Just elbow him. Just turn it around to a DDT. I don't know. Braun Strowman, I imagine, is capable of that. Where he's trained to do it, I don't know. But I just am disappointed in the sense where his wrestling ability is good enough. We've seen that against the Big Show. Like, he can wrestle. It's probably difficult to find someone his size to wrestle with.
But see, the thing is, and there's always a lot of backstage talk about it, if Brock and Paul are willing to play ball as well, in terms of the match,
but
in terms of how it goes.
It really goes that way, though?
I think so, yeah. If you're, say, for example, Braun Strowman, yes, you're on the way up, you're building, but you're still green, you're still a rookie, and you have your ideas in the match, and then Brock and Paul come to you and say no. What are you gonna do?
But here's Brock. It's like Braun is in the situation that Brock was in how many years ago? 15 years ago. And that's why. The difference between that and 15 years ago, Brock had Paul Heyman in his corner. Braun doesn't. Always have, yeah.
Braun doesn't.
That's the difference, I guess, yeah. Paul Heyman. Not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, it's great to have Paul Heyman in anyone's corner, but that's the difference between this match. Yeah. I'm not saying he's responsible for the booking, but as I said, I'm disappointed. So they have a lot to build up with here, or a lot to make up for it, in my view. Mm-hmm. Where it goes to Reigns or Cena, we'll see, or Reigns and Lesnar, we'll see.